The sisters are in to check the front line. Seems I spent the 80s in the Haiti state of mind. Catch me in the glasses for electroshock.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And it's Monday, and you better wake your ass up. Episode 23. And when I think about episode 23, you got to think about the man himself who dominated the NBA for years and has dominated business, the one and the only Michael Jordan. And John and I, Chicago, born and bred, John Fosco, are going to go over what leadership, takeaways, dominance, just everything this guy did, the things that you can take and put into your day-to-day life from the man himself, number 23. And, you know, it's brought to you by MaxEffortMuscle.com and Reebok. You better be more human. I want to introduce my co-host, John Fosco. How we doing, Johnny? I'm pumped about this topic, dude.
Dude, listen. I'm so pumped about this topic because when you were discussing in your intro about Michael, think about, all you guys, think about when you hear 23, just that number. Like, how insane is it that a man defines a number? And to go one step further, what does that number represent in your brain when you subconsciously just think of it? It represents dominance and greatness, and it's all because of this one man. So when me and Cory are sitting, okay, what are we going to hit on? What takeaways are we going to give our listeners? It's like, wait, it's episode 23. That's the greatest number in the world. That's the most dominant number in the world. And it's because of one man. And Cory, that man hails from the Windy City. Brought us 6 championships, dog. Let's go.
No question. Hey, before we start that, John, let's talk about, I think this is relevant real quick, what's going on in the marketplace just in general. We have Black Friday coming up. You know, you and I have been going back and forth on the deals for Max Effort Muscle and just seeing the buying cycles, and it's intriguing with the direct model, and kind of let the listeners know what we've been working on.
Sure. So, guys, this may sound sadistic and backwards, but this is my favorite part. My favorite part about business, right? So, me and Cory spend so much time, number one, protecting the brand, keeping brand integrity, growing the brand, making sure that every move we make is risk is mitigated, basically.
Yep.
And as we go into Black Friday, which all you guys know, you're probably holding on to that wallet until the clock strikes 12 on Thanksgiving because the deals are insane. As we go into that, as a direct consumer company, me and Cory, we debate, right? What do we do? What do we do in the lead up to Black Friday? Because here's a fact, right?
Yep.
The week before Black Friday is a dead week. Well, I'm sure you guys can figure out why, because everyone's saving their money to spend it on Friday and Cyber Monday. So as a business, how do you survive? I don't want to say survive, but how do you bring in revenue for those 4 days? And, man, the ideas have been flowing. And what it brings out, Cory, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel this way, is I feel these discussions, me and you talking at 10:30 at night on a Saturday, it brings out the best in both of us because we don't know the answer. We don't know what's best. We have to beta test these things and learn from them. And the marketplace, like we always say, is going to cast its vote. I mean, what's your take?
Yeah, I think that probably in the last few days, these are probably, they're not heated, but they are debatable discussions because we are both so protected of the brand, which is a good thing. You know, as I took a deep breath for a second and said, we're on the same team. We both want the best for the customer and the best for the brand. You know, I told John I won't say I was having a bad day, but I was pissed off about my lower back the other day because I kind of flared up, and I think I was fighting with John for no reason. So I said, John, let me just talk to you tomorrow. But yeah, I think you're right, and we'll swing back to it. And then we came back to some really good ideas, and it was like one of those things where you know, I'm excited for what I believe is customers to give us a try. This is a great time to discount product, which I will almost never agree to do because I know,
Right.
and this is what we've not argued about, but debated about, I'll use that word,
Right.
because I know it's so good and the price point's so good, the brand is so, like, we just feel so confident about our product that I don't believe it should be discounted. But this is the week that everyone does, and so we got to take part in it. So it's been good for John and I to go back and forth. And what we love about this podcast is, just like we said a year ago as we were creating the brand, building the brand, you guys have been here for the entire process, and we're going to share things with you guys as we run into things and as we work on them, because that's part of capturing the process, which I enjoy, John enjoys, and you guys should too, because we're not like acting like we got all the answers. We're about to find out. Right. Because sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Right. And the one thing that I think me and Cory could say is, here's what we can guarantee you. This week we're going to do a lot of experimentation. We're going to implement some new ideas. But what we will tell you is this, okay? Friday, get ready, okay? Cyber Monday, get ready, and every day in between. Because remember when we told you guys we were going to create a brand that had a different experience that was unique, and by all, for all intents and purposes, we did, and the numbers represent that, and the customer loyalty represents that. What we are dropping on Black Friday, that you can get on Black Friday, and then on Cyber Monday, we're not going to tell you, but guys, I'm going to tell you this. Tell your friends, if they ever, we're going to try our product.
This time.
Ever buy on Black Friday, you're going to get a discount as well. Buy on Cyber Monday or buy in between, because we created something very special that you all, even if you've bought before, are going to love. And everyone loves a discount too, right? So, Cory, I don't know what your feelings are, but I assume you're as stoked as I am.
Yeah, because we do have something that's so unique that's going to go out on those days. And just like when we were hashtagging what's in your sack and people thought we were spelling it wrong, they didn't know what was coming, and then all of a sudden it shows up to their doorstep in a burlap sack. It's along those lines, but something really unique. So stay tuned, and I think we'll just keep them guessing, Johnny.
Yeah. It's going to be dope, though, and check your newsletter. Check your newsletter. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it's going to be real good. All right, John, so I'm going to let you start it off, because obviously you're from Chicago. I think the Bulls blood bleeds out of you, and I just loved watching MJ, and I just think that there's takeaways in life about Michael Jordan, because I know he absolutely molded anybody in between our age group growing up, and seeing the way he just dominated, delivered, led his team. And I really believe that, that's where part of my work ethic and all that probably inherently came from, besides my family, by watching MJ. And so these people that are younger that have watched, or maybe you're older and you just forgot about it, I want to hit on some great takeaways from MJ in episode 23 to honor him and what he meant to probably both of us. So I want to let you start it off, bro.
Sure, man. So to me, there's so many things, right, with Michael Jordan, but the overarching piece that I think about is this. He is the human embodiment, right? The human embodiment of what it means to do hardcore, do what it takes, get it done at all costs business. Michael Jordan is the embodiment of that. He played in an era that was pre-social media. Yep. And he didn't give a fuck if you liked him. He didn't give a fuck if he got along with his teammates. All he cared about, and there's numerous stories we've touched on briefly here, of him knocking out, teammates in practice, of him throwing guys against the wall, of him punching guys in the stomach, of him chucking back. All he cared about was winning. To this day, all Michael Jordan cares about is winning. Now, many have criticized him for it, right? But I'm going to go back to the human embodiment of the harsh world of get-it-done business, because all you guys who are out there succeeding in business and who have played the game on a larger level, or for you younger guys who want to be there, okay, business is the most ruthless sport. We always say it. And Michael Jordan as an individual embodied that his whole career, Core. To me, that's my first thought.
Yeah, I think that it was so obvious that he was the leader, that's what I loved about it. And it was his squad. He knew what was best, and that he understood, like, if he could get his competitiveness inside of those other guys, that he believed he could make them so much better, and he did. I mean, there's no question. The guys that he won with, John, Bill Cartwright, Bill Winnington, John Paxson, Steve Kerr. I mean, obviously Pippen was a great number 2, but at the end of the day, he won with way less than some of these other guys have won as these big threes of the world continue to pop up, right? And so what I love about Jordan is first guy in, last guy out. When the Knicks were beating him up back in the day, Ewing and Oakley, guess what he did? He lifted weights and got his weight up because he knew he had to be stronger. Like, he literally took competitiveness to an entirely different level. And that, I'll be honest with you, when I still hear it to this day, and I haven't heard it in a while, the Be Like Mike jingle from Gatorade, dude, it does something. Because I was like so young when that came out, and that just meant, like, I don't know if it was like the way that he just did things. It meant something different to me. Like, the work ethic is what I pulled from that. Like, if I wanted to be like Mike, yeah, I wanted to do all these cool things, but it was so known that he was doing what everybody else wasn't. And that's how, and I grabbed that young. I loved basketball, and I know you did too. It's something we share. I would shoot 1,000,000 jumpers. Now, my jumpers still broke, Fosco, because I was lifting weights, but I thought I was MJ just like every other kid in that age, and he embodied just that work, and it just felt like that's what you were supposed to do. And that right there was a big takeaway that I didn't even realize probably at that age that I was getting from him. Sure. But I think that he just expected to win, and he expected more out of his guys. And if that meant he was going to punch you in the face, then so be it. That's what I loved about it.
Well, yeah, and when you punch someone in the face, it's temporary unless, you're out for damage. But you touched on some of his teammates. Yeah. And a handful of those teammates are teammates who were assaulted by Michael Jordan. But I can tell you this, because I've heard interviews, right? I'm from Chicago. Not one of them will say anything but the most positive, almost awestruck words about the experience they had working on a daily basis with the guy who did not, in his brain, right? His brain did not accept failure. And if you were on that court with him, Bill Wennington, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, John Paxson,
Bill Cartwright,
you better have that same mentality. And he made them. See, they didn't get on the court with that mentality. Yeah. But the only way they could stay on the court is if they adopted it and believed it. And what that guy did, think about this. You see LeBron go to Miami, win championships. You see Kevin Durant go to Golden State. I remember Michael making a comment when LeBron went to Miami. He said, man, back in my day, he said, I would never go play with Magic. I would never go play with Larry. It's like True. Fake. It's like, I want to beat those motherfuckers so bad so everyone knows who the best is, right? Mm-hmm. That's how much of an insane competitor that man was. And we've lost. We talk about the softening of the youth over time. And just think about that. Like, today it's normal. Oh, Kevin Durant goes to the Warriors, who are stacked as hell, who won 73 games last year. Mm-hmm. LeBron goes to Miami. And then he comes back to Cleveland when it's stacked. Michael wanted to go to a team where there was nobody. Yeah. And then he made Scottie Pippen. And then he made Horace Grant.
And he made Nike, too. But that's another. Keep going.
Not only did he make Nike, I was going to get that. But
Sorry.
he made an industry.
Yeah.
He made the industry with Sonny Vaccaro of basketball shoes, which is now about a $16 billion a year industry.
But all that stuff comes from expecting to win. And I'll be honest with you, like that's what I think, that because Jordan was like that, as I've always led crews at my gym, which is obviously a different sport, different whole thing. But my whole plan is when I walk in that door is to get more out of my guys. And every one of the guys that train at Old School in our 4 a.m. crew, I know a bunch of you guys are listening, they know that I expect that out of them. When they walk up to that bar, I tell them, like, you better not quit pulling on that bar. You better give me everything you got. Like, I want these guys to do something that they didn't think they could do when they walked in. That's what Jordan got out of his guys. He wanted John Paxson to think, I can play at an all-star level. I'm going to hit every jump shot when it counts. And when Jordan flips it to him or Steve Kerr, they better expect that thing's going in. And that's the kind of stuff, like when my guys walk up to the platform, they expect to make the lift. That's what I want. That's what I want my team to feel like, and that's what he did all the time, man. It's confident.
Well, and think about it like this. You know what I'm saying? So we talk about business, right? Business and biceps. Business is the basis of this show, and we have employees. I've had many employees. You've had many employees, and when you achieve greatness or you achieve a profitable company that provides for people's families, there will be, and there has been in my experience, and I'm sure yours, young employees, we'll call them B.J. Armstrong, John Paxson, Bill Cartwright, who come up to you and say, like, dude, I was this close to quitting. Like, I was this close to quitting because you were just brutal. You were relentless. But now I get it. Mm-hmm. Now I get it. It's not that it was me. It wasn't personal to me. It was, we're on a mission together. And failure is always, I say this many times, it's always the most attainable, easily grabbable option. Failure is, dude, you can choose to quit right now. Yeah. Right now. Want to quit? Quit, motherfucker. But when you instill in people that quitting is not, it doesn't exist, right? Yeah. It does not exist. And failure doesn't exist either. You will test their breaking point, and if you do not break their back, that is leadership, because those people will go on to lead the next generation. And then they will do the same thing to the young ones below them, and they will go on to lead the next generation. And that, my friends, is the definition of a legacy.
Yeah, no question. And that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of the same way. You know, if you got a guy that's in your crew, especially at Old School, and he don't show up for a little while, I feel like you're missing practice. Because what we're doing is we're practicing every day to make ourselves better for when it's game time. And our game time is meets, shows, whatever it is, to represent our crew, which is the Old School gym and what we're about. And I'm the leader. And so when you miss, I'm sending you I'm tweeting you, making jokes at you, sending you, dropping you a pin where the gym's at. I'll do that for a little while. Then after that, if you're off the team and you just ain't interested anymore, then I'm not going to spend no time on you. But the thing is, if you show up and you consistently put in that work, man, I'm going to pour everything I got into you as your leader, as the guy who's, writing the programming, who's coaching the team. And that's what Jordan did. These guys, dude, weren't even a quarter of the – Bill Cartwright wasn't a quarter of the gifted athlete of Michael Jordan. I mean, dude, do you remember his jump shot?
Dude, his free throw looked like somebody got hit in the face with a brick and then had to shoot immediately.
Yeah, so I think if you're a good leader, you can make unextraordinary people extraordinary. Because I don't view myself as some extraordinary person. I've made myself able to do extraordinary things because of work, preparation, and mindset, right? So if you're on my team and you're leading a team out there in the world, that's what you got to expect to get out of people. Because when they believe that, yes, this is uncharted territory. I've never pulled this weight. I've never squatted this weight. I've never been in this business situation, but I'm not scared of it. I'm ready for it because I prepared. Jordan had these guys on the biggest stage, network TV, multiple championships, and what did they do? Dude, in my opinion, they delivered every fucking time.
Every time.
It was
Right.
Steve hitting
Right.
jumpers, Pippen scoring this, Jordan sick. I mean, dude, every time, because he had them ready, because every day they were battle tested, dude. And so
Yep.
when you're a leader, if you can't take that away,
Yep.
shit.
Guys, and this isn't about basketball, and this isn't about sports. This is about, once again, what we want to plug you guys into. It is truly a mindset. I told Cory about this. I had a guy unplug my drain the other day. I had to come to my house, and he was looking around. I was like, "Oh man, you got a nice spot. What do you do?" And I told him some stuff. And then he was like, "Oh, how you do it?" And I just looked him in the eye, and I said, "Listen, here's the deal. You won't beat me. I don't let people beat me. That's it." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You ain't gonna beat me." I go, that's it. If you work 14 hours, I'll work 20, right? You ain't gonna beat me, but I'm not smart. And I wasn't trying to even make a statement. It just came out of me because that's who I am. So let's talk about, max effort muscle. It's like I literally, and I know, Cory views it, maybe differently, maybe not. I literally view anybody who sells any product similar to us as enemies. And I want to fucking crush them.
He does.
No. I want to fucking crush them. And I don't want to beat them. I want to crush them. I want to put them out of business. And I don't care if they're in the fucking soup line. I could give a shit. Because ultimately, they don't care if I'm in the soup line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to win. I'm not going to take the back roads. I ain't going to go behind your back. I'm not going to lie, cheat, or steal. But what I will do with my great fucking team, the best in the business, and Cory, will outthink you, will beat you, and then when we got you down, we'll step on your throat.
But that's exactly, he seriously probably got that from MJ, because that's exactly what he tried to do to Larry, where he tried to do to Magic, and all that. And then also, what I think what was so great about Michael was, he was so competitive that he, in his mind, John, I remember at his acceptance speech for the Hall of Fame, right? I know you know where I'm going with this, right? At 50, I think for one split second thought he was going to make a comeback, because he acted like he acted almost like he was going to walk off the stage and start training, and in his mind, for that one split second, whether it's true or not, he thought he could go play right now. Dude,
he talks about it all the time, how he could beat a lot of these rookies in one-on-one. And the one thing about that acceptance speech that, the Chicago media really jumped all over is you got a guy who is looked at by, I'd say 95% of any sports media as the best basketball player of all time, if not the best athlete of all time, doing his Hall of Fame acceptance speech. And he calls out. It wasn't like in a joking manner. He calls this dude out in a negative manner. His high school coach that didn't put him right up to varsity, and he lets him know what's up now. Like,
I love
dude,
it.
That is, how last week we talked about you have to be obsessed and you have to be borderline crazy, right? Yeah. Well, that right there, my friends, is obsessed, and that ain't borderline crazy. You're Michael Jordan. You've accomplished, you got more rings, you could juggle those motherfuckers, and they would all hit the floor because you got so many. And you're still
salty as a motherfucker.
Not let go of that. You're calling that dude out. That's how competitive he is.
But you know what, though?
Okay?
I think it's huge about that, John, is what you're mentioning is that chip on your shoulder. I think you can use that stuff to your advantage. I think that's what Michael did, in my opinion.
Oh, dude, you could use it to your advantage all you want. Think about it like this, and I've even heard this, right? So this is the first supplement company I've been involved in, right? I come from the sports space, sports agent, and I hear chirps like, oh, just because Fosco marketed Muscle Farm, he thinks he could run a supplement company. It's like, dude, I hear you guys. I hear you. None of you are going to get a response. All of you will see what I do. And that's it. because that chip does stay on my shoulder, and it does
Absolutely.
motivate me, but it doesn't get me to react. It just gets me to get motivated and achieve.
Yeah, because I'm just the guy tweeting all the time that has abs, right, John?
Cory, what do you know? What do you know? Dude, you just lift weights and you have abs. What do you know? What do you know? How could you run a...
Heard that in a few business meetings, everybody.
Right.
So
We're just two guys with no educations who swear a lot. What the fuck could we know? What could we know?
Well, that's what I think that, and I'm a huge believer. I've used chip on my shoulder, and still every day when I wake up, I think about multiple things that are important that, people have said. It's not even, I don't hold it against them. I think that's what some people might think. Like, somebody might have said something a little halfway to me, but I don't get up hating that person. But utilizing that for my own motivation, I think is key, and I've used that for years and years, because one of the best things to squash a hater or someone like that is just success. You don't have to respond.
Right.
Like John said, you don't want to. You shouldn't respond. Actually, in my opinion, I think you respond by ultimate success.
By winning.
Yeah, that's the trump card.
So here's the thing, Cory.
Good.
What I would say is this, and man, I stand by this wholeheartedly. And if you guys could take this away, man, it'd make me so happy. But when you have any ill will, or you have a hater, and it bugs you, and it causes you to react, we used the word puppetry last week. When somebody can get you to react out of the ordinary or behave in a certain manner that you normally wouldn't, they are in control.
They win.
They're in control. So are you going to respond? Are you going to even let your haters know that you know their name? Because guess what? I always say this. The day I stop having haters is the day I'm failing. Because if you're nobody who fails, they don't have haters. They don't have haters. People who succeed have haters. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to embrace that, but you can never respond to it, because it will take you off your course of success.
Well, and I think Connor's done this a lot lately when people are challenging him that aren't in the same category. And I don't know if Jordan did this or not, but I've done this a bunch. Like, people ask me about certain people, I act like I don't even know who they are, because I don't take no value. Oh, did you hear what this person said? Who's that?
Well, exactly. That's the whole point. Because it's like, think about it for a second. We all have, to accomplish our goal, let's say to accomplish my personal goals, Cory, your personal goals, Connor's personal goals, Michael's personal goals back in the day. Do you know how? Of course you know. But guys, to the listener, do you know how much time and energy it takes to actually accomplish those goals?
Oh.
So, if someone brings up someone else's name to you and you give it any time, that is time taken away from you and your objective. That's why people who achieve, they don't acknowledge haters. They don't acknowledge anyone. They say, all I know is I'm going to do this. Next.
Yeah. You know what? I'll be honest with you. Like, when I was getting ready to start my first gym, John, there was a guy that just straight up told me, because I was 20 and I was leaving his place, which he was going to lose money, and I had no non-compete, which I knew, so I was taking all my clients, and he just said, just straight fucking told me I couldn't succeed. Like, the worst thing you could do to a young business, just because he was upset that he didn't lock me down. It was on him, you know what I mean? It was going to make him look bad to the owners of the company. And he was like, this person couldn't do it, that person couldn't do it. I've said that multiple times, and I'm so glad he did that. Because there was days I was real tired, man. Real tired trying to build. At 20, my friends are partying.
Never forget it.
Dude, to this day, it's still what I think about. Like, when I'm sitting on Arnold's back porch at a Christmas party smoking a cigar, I think about it.
Right.
No shit. I'm so glad he said it. I'm not even mad at him. When I see him, I dab him up. Like, yo, what's up, man? Like, because he already said, man, I'm sorry. You know, we've already squashed that, but I still use it to this day, 20 years later.
Bro, so that is, I'm very happy you brought that up, because I had a situation where I bought my first home when I was 20 years old. And I got to say, when I did it, I rushed into it, and I was very overwhelmed, right? As a 20-year-old, I have this mortgage, I have this big price tag on the house. I was so overwhelmed. And somebody, a family member, extremely close to me, said, "What did you do?" And I said, I bought this spot. And he said, "Well, I don't think you're going to make it."
Oh.
And I remember feeling scared for about a third of a second. And then my brain said, "Oh, really, motherfucker? Oh, really? You don't
Yes.
think I'm going to make it?" That shit plays over in my head so many times. And motherfucker, I jumped that hurdle 15 years ago. Okay? I made it. Okay? But that shit plays in my head because you want to doubt me? All you're going to do is charge me like a battery, dude. You're just going to charge me like a battery. And you don't want to do that if you're in my way. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. No, it's massive. And I think that all you guys that are listening, guys and gals that are listening, that are getting ready to make that step, because we have a lot of people on here that don't like what they do, or they're coming out of college and they're getting ready to switch to what their real passion is, and that are going to make a step where I guarantee it. I'm not saying maybe. It will absolutely happen when you say, "I'm going to transition to this," or "I'm going to move to that job," or "I'm going to try this profession, I'm going to build this business." Somebody, whether they mean it or not, is going to be the negative Nancy that says, "You shouldn't do that, you can't do that," which is a word that's outlawed in my house completely,
Right.
or you won't be able to. And I hope they do. And I hope it pisses you off. Because I'm telling you, the guy that said it to me, I'm thankful that he did, because I remember I walked out of that office so fucking pissed to win that it haunted me. And that's a big reason. And I had nothing to prove to my family. They really didn't know what I was doing. They were happy that I was given a shot. There was no expectations there. No one had really ran their own business except for my granddad. And so that was never a thing. There was nobody at home. And a lot of people didn't understand what I was doing or even think it was possible to be on the cover of magazines, own my own gym, where I'm coming from. That wasn't really something I could use. It kind of was, because I had this whole overwhelming thing to be like a star from my area that people looked up to. But that guy saying that changed everything. And I really believe Jordan, when he left and played baseball with that whole thing, which was kind of crazy when his dad passed away, and when he came back, there was a lot of people saying, he couldn't then win another 3 or another championship, right, because he had been out of it. So I really believe he used that as motivation to work harder, to hit the weights more, to shoot more jumpers. I think it was huge for him.
So let me say something on that. You're absolutely right. Now, okay, Jordan had 6 championships. The first 3 championships, he's running around doing 360 dunks, jumping over people. If you look at his last 3 championships, this man is such a competitor, and he's so plugged in. He wasn't doing that, guys. What he was doing was he was backing you down, and he mastered that fadeaway that Kobe kind of took. Why? Because he knew his body could not achieve the same things athletically that it could earlier. So he said, okay, how can I win with what I got? Then came the fadeaway, and that fadeaway gave us 3 more championships. So the guy didn't say this. Here. He didn't say, "You know what, man? I'm Michael Jordan, like the best dunker ever. I don't think I can come back because I can't do that." He said, okay, how am I going to win? And he found a fucking way. Want to know why he found a way, guys? Because there's always a way. For everybody.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
He adapted to his situation, used that external motivation, and continued to win at the highest level, continued to expect everything out of his team. I would just say, if you're a leader, that anything you could read about, you could watch about, you can listen to this, obviously, in our stuff, especially about leadership and taken from a guy like Michael Jordan, that you can get so much out of your team. I believe we're challenging our guys at Max Effort Muscle. I challenge the guys in the gym. Like, I look at everybody as our team. Anybody that supports us, works with us, does whatever. I'm challenging you, who's the listener of the podcast. Like, get more out of yourself and get more out of your team. And if you can do that, man, the winning capabilities is massive. Like, if John and I push each other to get better, which we have, absolutely, like that's a massive win for both.
We do every day. We do every day, whether we know it or not. You know, listen, me and Cory are not used to having to passively bring ideas up, right? I'm not used to that. I'm used to saying, okay, this is the course of action. This is why we're going to do it. We're going to do it, right? So Cory's my equal. I cannot operate that way. Want to know what that has done, at least speaking from my experience? It's made me a better communicator. And when I'm a better communicator, I can motivate more people. Before, I used to have an iron fist, okay? People followed, but the question is, did they really want to? Now, we really have to have a debate that says, okay, it's not John's opinion, it's not Cory's opinion, what do the numbers say, right? Numbers don't lie. So it's been a fantastic experience for me. So much growth comes out of it. And I believe if you allow yourself to grow and you allow yourself to be in new environments where you're not comfortable, because I'll be straight. I wasn't comfortable off the bat not being the 100% leader of the ship. But guess what? It's made me better. It's made me better.
Yeah. Yeah, John, you've challenged me a lot in a good way. Also, because I've said it multiple times, like when I was going to go back into supplements, I really didn't plan on bringing another partner in. You obviously made a ton of sense and offered so much value, and there's no way I could have done it without you. And the rest of the team too, but you and I really in the think tank early on, and you've challenged me in a lot of different ways. And honestly, I think what's good about us balancing each other's kind of craziness is, if I'm off for a day, you might be zinging at 100%, and I'm at 90, and and it makes me bring myself up to 100, and vice versa. Or if you're way out of control or I'm way out of control, we can be a voice of reason to each other too, I think, which is good. And I think just like our talk the other day, I was trying to be real honest with you on just like how I felt personally, which I try not to bring into business, but sometimes you can't help. It just is what it is. It affects you
Cory,
sometimes.
I want to stop you right there, because I think that's a teachable moment, and you did something that I would say 1% of people have the ability to do. So me and Cory were talking about something that we had differing opinions on, and he stopped. He said, John, listen, I don't know if right now is the best time to talk about this, because straight up, I'm not in the best mood. I got some stuff going on. And I will tell you, through all my years of business, I've assumed and I thought that people had stuff going on because they were acting rude or mean. But as opposed to acting rude, short, and maybe getting into an argument with me, which would not help our business, right? Because we'd be going at each other. Cory identified exactly how he was feeling. He said, listen, let's revisit this at a later date. And what that does, guys, if you can have the skill to be that so fucking self-aware like Cory was, dude, that not only makes me understand him and be like, oh, dude, yeah, it's all good. Let's get on it tomorrow when we're fresh, right? So we did. Just try to take something from that, because if you can get to that point, it's only going to benefit you in your career.
Yeah, and what I was hoping, I don't think it's a sign of weakness. I think you just, like you said, it's a strength, right? It's a self-awareness to say, like, am I fighting? I don't say I'm fighting. Am I debating harder with this topic on John because of something outside? And I really believe I was, because I couldn't think clearly enough about it. And I don't think this is something that happens to me very often. So that's why I was like, you know what? The right thing to do is tell John that. I'm not crying about it. It's just obvious. And
it's just the truth.
It's just the truth. Yeah. So, and what I love about John is, like, if it is the truth, always you can't lose for the most part.
Right, because I ain't gonna fucking knock you for telling me. Well, how can I get mad at you for telling me the truth?
Yeah, exactly. And so the way that you reacted is what I expected, and I didn't want to put any more stress on that topic, because I already knew the way I felt about it, but it had gone a percentage higher than I wanted it to, because of other things. So I think that's the thing that you guys got to. Self-awareness is something that's extremely hard to dial into. I think that I have just over years and years, and I just have a comfortability with a partnership with John that I knew he would just respect that, and we were going to be better if I just laid it out there like that. And John's done the same thing with me. Man, I got this stuff going on with this and that, and like I'm just not going to be like we've talked.
Yeah,
about
I'm not as good as it as Cory. I mean, for me, it's
you got a lot better though.
Yeah, I'm trying, but you guys got to understand, like, if I go off the handle, and I've done it, let's say on some employees, like, intimidating or this. Like, I don't try to do that. But if I get upset, like, you guys hear me talk about this all the time. Don't mix emotion and business. Well, when I get heavy-handed, well, what am I doing? I'm mixing emotion and business. And that is not the right way to do things. So I wish I had the strength that you have to be able to do that, Core. And that's something that eventually, hopefully, I'll get to.
No, I think it's good. But I think if we kind of tie all this back to the reason why we did this podcast in general was we really just wanted to honor a person that showed extreme leadership, amazing work ethic, unbelievable mental fortitude to just expect to win, get the best out of his team, truly self-aware, the timing of just what he had to be able to win and be one of the greatest and only expect. I mean, he just on every level of a competitor. I mean, probably from the standpoint of equals, he's probably like the Steve Jobs type of thing, right, John? Because I know Steve expected. Now a lot of people said good, bad, or indifferent about him too, but he had that same kind of killer mentality, basically. Yeah. And I would say that
Steve Jobs was like this. Hey, how come it's not working? I don't know. I can't figure it out. Whose job is it? It's your job to figure it out. Well, I can't figure it out. Yeah. And then he walked away. I mean, it was like, that's your job, isn't it? Don't ever tell me you cannot do something.
Yeah. And so I think that, if you want to win at a high level, there's that expectation that is next level, and that when you're ready for that, and that's all on you. And so Jordan just had that inside, the chip on his shoulder was a huge takeaway, I think. And a lot of people might have that, but not draw on it. And I got to tell you, you got to draw on it every day. If you're having a hard time with motivation, I think that's a big thing to draw on. That can help you stay motivated.
Oh, for sure. And here's the thing with guys like that, right? Next level guys, they say to the employee or the teammate, whose job is it to fix this? Well, me, I can't fix it. Well, guys like Michael, guys like Steve, they deal with more situations on a daily basis where they don't know how to fix it, but they got to be the guy to fix it. But here's the difference, right? They never say to anybody, well, I don't know. The answer is, I'm on it, right? I'm going to take care of this shit. And that's why, we alluded to this last week as well. Real entrepreneurs, man, you don't know most of the time how you're going to get to that destination. Like Michael Jordan, he didn't know how he was going to get to 6 championships. He just knew he was gonna. And if you put the day in and the day out work, like, you're going to figure out those things that are seemingly unfigure-outable, if that's even a word. You know what I'm saying?
I think it is, John.
Yeah.
One of my other things that I love about Jordan is, from a fashion and business standpoint, he changed not only sneakers. He's the one that wanted to wear baggier shorts after the early Jordan days. I think that the chewing the gum, the way he walked, the way he carried himself, like his style and his straight up just swag was just next level. The way he presented himself, I guess you say, confidently.
It's amazing if you look at, number one, the way he carried himself and performed. Of course, that's a given. But what's amazing is the basketball shoe industry, right? Nike took, I think it was $1 million, and they said, who are we going to, okay, we have $0 in basketball shoe revenue. Let's try this crazy idea out to see if there's money in basketball shoes. Who should we pick? Oh, Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing. No, let's pick that dude who did not get drafted first, who did not get drafted second. Michael Jordan did not have a bunch of hoopla coming out of college. He was a great player at Carolina, do not get me wrong, but he did not have a lot of hoopla. And Sonny Vaccaro, along with Nike, said, let's go with this guy. And it ended up being Michael Jordan. And literally, he is single-handedly responsible for what we referenced earlier, which is an $18 billion industry. Now imagine if they would have picked, let's say, Sam Bowie, right? Sam Bowie went number 2 in the draft that Jordan was in. What if they picked Sam Bowie? Would the basketball shoe industry be what it is today? I don't know.
What I want to touch on about Jordan is that it's one of those things where he had such the it factor, and a lot of people talk about this, right? Whether it's a brand, whether it's a person, and I really believe that there is some people that are born that have X amount of confidence, I think, just by design, but I believe it's a learned thing that comes with confidence of work ethic, preparation, that when a guy like Michael Jordan walks in the room, people just know it. It wouldn't matter if he played basketball or not. He was
They
just
feel it.
that. Exactly. And so I think that's one of the things that I've strived for my whole life is that when you're in the room, you feel different to everybody else. Not because you're a dick or you're so confident that it's your energy. And I believe everybody possesses that through working on their self-development, putting in their time, constantly trying to get better, in that people want to be around winners. There's a great story that when I was struggling with something with Rach, not us personally, but in business, and she, I remember one day, like it was something like early days of Muscle Farm or transition in, I was like struggling real bad. And just the way that, and I've barely ever done this, I was talking just negatively, like it just wasn't my style. She kind of punched me in the chest a little bit, like kind of popped me and looked at me. She goes, Cory, people want to be around you because you're a winner. And that's what you expect out of yourself every day. And quit acting like a loser right now. Because you're a winner. And I don't know I don't know what's got into you, but that's not why people follow what you do. That's not why people listen to you. And obviously I didn't have near the hold that the kind of capture the audience that I have now. But I'll never forget that. I don't even know if she would remember it. But that's what I was acting like, the victim, not the victor. And I think when you do not operate as a victim, which I obviously never do if I can control it, it makes a massive difference. And that is what helps you become that Jordan-esque on your own area, level, industry, whatever you do. When you walk in the room, the people know there's just something different, that you have it, that they can feel the confidence and they want to be around it, because people want to be around winners.
Right. And what I'll say is this, two things. One, I believe that aura of, oh my God, when someone walks in a room, they don't know who you are, they just feel you. Mm-hmm. I personally believe that's from somebody who is so comfortable in their own skin, and they know exactly who they are, that they are just them. Because so many people struggle with how to act, how to walk, how to talk. And if you're a winner, right, like you said, a winner is a subjective word. But if you're a winner and you have confidence in yourself and you know yourself, I believe that's the aura that is given off. Now, you said victor, not victim. I just want to say this to everybody. I don't care what's happened to you in life, unless you're terminal. Nobody in the United States of America is a victim. Okay? Yeah. You're a victim. Like I said, if you have terminal cancer, God bless you. Outside of that, nobody is a victim, because if you ain't got a pot to piss in, if you come from the most dysfunctional backgrounds, man, most of the greatest, most influential people in this world, let alone country, okay, were quote unquote victims. But to me, that's not a victim. When you have opportunity, you ain't a victim. Victim is a word that's used by fucking cowards. So stop being a coward if you think you're a victim, and do something about why you think you're a victim.
I think it's a massive way to go about life. I think if you have the victor mentality, I think if you prepare, you work hard, you expect to win, you work towards that self-awareness, all these things that I think Jordan embodied as a sports star and businessman, that we as kids definitely grabbed, whether we liked it or not. The excitement of just him being on TV as much as he was, him being a national superstar. I told my son, Alex, when I was showing him Michael Jordan on YouTube, I felt blessed that I knew every Sunday it was going to be a doubleheader, and one of the games was going to be Michael Jordan, and I was glued to the pregame that would talk about his workout. I was glued to every time he was interviewed on his mindset, just even the way he would be on camera, dude, just so dialed in and it's just one of those things that, if you're young and you didn't get to see it, I'm glad you get to listen to this podcast. If you're older and you forgot about it, I'm glad we could bring it up. And I think
you're right, though. The one thing I will say is, obviously, being a guy from there, I could see that. I used to wait to watch Shaq, but being able to watch Michael's whole career, it's funny because you just made me think about something I never thought about, and it's like I really do believe it had a subconscious effect on the way I looked at the world. Not basketball, but the world, because I watched him so intently and how he approached every situation on the court, which mirrors life in several situations. So that is a blessing to be able to see somebody who is simply going to be talked about the same way today as they are in 1,000 years from now.
Well, and to watch a legacy created, that was probably the first legacy I got to actually watch be created, to understand what it really meant to have that type of impact with basically his actions equaled his success equaled his actions, and it was on display every week for me to watch from when I was, 8 years old all the way through when he retired. So anyway, hopefully you guys, John, unless you have some parting shots, I think we crushed, and I'm glad we talked about it. I was excited from the time we spoke about it. I think it was really unique. And, I just want to say, all the people that have been supporting the podcast, we got a bunch of new listeners. People have been sharing it with their friends. Please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. John,
I'm going to hit one more thing on Jordan before we roll.
No, go ahead, please, man.
That I think is very important to business as well. Michael Jordan was the first, let's call it flashy superstar who just decided that, you know what, basketball, or this game I play, and we all play different games in our life, doesn't have just jumping and dunking. It's also got defense. Okay, in that era, someone who is an athletic scoring machine did not play defense. Well, guess what Michael Jordan started doing? He started playing D, and in the off season, lifting weights, working on his tendons, working on conditioning, and guess what happened? He turned into a multiple-time defensive player of the year. Was the media, was anybody saying, well, this guy can't play D? No. He said, how can I be better? How can I be? Dude, that's what it's about. This guy was obsessed.
He broke down his own. He broke down his own weakness. He didn't wait for somebody else to do it.
No one.
That's a great takeaway.
Cory.
No one. I remember when he started playing D like that, led the league in steals, he was blocking people like crazy, but that was because his conditioning. He knew that was a separator. He was one of the first one on weights in the NBA. Yeah, you're right. But you know what's interesting is everybody knows what they can get a little bit better at, even if they act like they don't, and they know that it could be a separator in their profession, within their personality, within their strategy daily. Everybody. Now, there's some things that you can, inherently can only get X amount good at. Like you might not be good at this one thing and you might need help with it, but you can always get better at something. That doesn't matter whether it's in the weight room or in business. Behavior, exactly.
Man, because that's what, it can do so much for you, man. I have a dry erase board I'm looking at right now, and it's got some behaviors written on it that nice. I got to get better at. If I want to get to where I want to go, I got to get better at it. So I would encourage you guys to do that, because behavior doesn't require physical or mental gifts. It just requires giving a fuck.
I think we should end it on that. That's a knowledge drop.
Cory, before we go,
go ahead.
It's funny. We're talking about Black Friday and stuff, and I was just thinking, I was like, Cory said this to me earlier in the week, and I was like, well, I didn't ask him back. I was like, we're going to do this on Black Friday, but I didn't ask you, Cory. Can the podcast be stopped? The podcast can't be stopped. Can't be stopped.
Like Mike, if I could be like Mike.